All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, match week number 10. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Premier League, where we'll talk about Spurs' Defective Stadium, a would you rather between West Ham and Nottingham Forest, and Erling Mother freaking Haaland, everybody. Halftime will be a wedding-related weekly what if.
Oh, no.
Around the World is a MLS Minute, of course. We got the Minute Man himself here. And then Champions League preview. And then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. Starting with the Minute Man himself, Tyler Terrens, who is out in Seattle preparing for his wedding. So on a scale of 0 to 100% complete, all done, finished, where are we in the wedding preparation status meter at this point?
97% done.
Okay, that's not bad. What do you got left?
Couple like small details that are just gonna bore the audience. So I don't really know if I want to like get into those, but there's just a couple of things here and there. There's a couple of people who are just sort of like, yeah, really not sure if I'm gonna make it or not, and like, but you RSVP'd, yes. A couple of those, little nonsensical things, but
are they named Tommy McCabe?
No, Tommy was great. Tommy texted, from the looks of the time, it looked like Tommy texted us and said that he was going to be able to make the wedding, like basically while he was getting treatment, and on the table after the loss. So Tommy was on top of it. It's not Tommy.
Not a surprise, I suppose, on that. Yeah. Shout out Tommy. So they lost. Loudoun United lost in the first round of the playoffs against North Carolina FC, but that means Tommy's coming to the wedding. So all's well that ends well. Now, speaking of weddings, next up we got Mr. Mikey Fowler, who will be in attendance, as with everybody else, now that Tommy is confirmed, at Tyler's nuptials. Mikey will be different than the rest of the group, excluding myself, in that he is bringing his better half to the festivities. So how much money, Mikey, paid in cash immediately upon completion of the task, would it take for you to get down on one knee and propose at Tyler's wedding reception?
However much bail is for Tyler to kick my ass.
That's pretty cheap, actually. I think we could get that done in about maybe 1,000, 1,200. I think we could do that.
Oh, man. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Tyler's soon-to-be wife, and I'm very excited to do so. And that is as bad of a first impression as you could possibly have.
It would not get worse.
I don't even think I'd be that upset. Like, I would just be like, right on, Mikey. Like, if that's if you wanted, if like being around my love makes you want to propose, then more power to you.
Not you, I'm worried about, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, last but never least, Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch. So, Mr. Goulet, as the lone single person representative on the pod, how hard in the paint are you planning to go on hitting on any single bridesmaids in the wedding?
Way to dox my relationship status just like that. I don't know. We're gonna see what the pool is out there. We're gonna take our chances when they come to us. We're gonna go out there with a game plan. No need to give the opposing side away our tactics right now. But it's definitely a fluid situation. I think it's a long season, and we're just gonna have to take our chances when they come to us.
Fair enough. Does he got any targets, Tyler?
Oof. Do you want me to explain the situation now, Mitchell, or do you want to be surprised or potentially let down when you get there?
If you have insider information, by all means.
There's no insider information to be had. Like, there's maybe going to be 2 single people at this wedding of the female gender, one of them being my little sister, and like you just know that if it were to go down that path, then we really are going to need some bail money. So
then you're beating the shit out of me and Mikey in one night, and we're not going down there.
Exactly.
Okay,
that'd be a great podcast episode.
I'll go for an aunt. I don't give a shit. You got any single aunts?
You know something? I don't. Shannon does. Aunt Joan is a great time. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not saying in terms of that, but like she's just inherently she's just a lot of fun. She's a fun gal. She'll be all over the dance floor. Yeah,
I'm sure we'll find each other.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this wedding. And shout out to all the Discord people who have basically been involved in the planning of it over the last few weeks. If you're not in the Sam's Army Discord, by the way, get in it by getting in the Sam's Army Patreon, $3.99 a month, the cheapest, best thing going for the money in the
first time
universe.
First time the five of us will have all been together?
Yeah. First time I will have met Tommy ever, actually.
Yeah, same.
In person.
Well, if you get on your fucking flight.
That's true. As we talked about last week.
Tyler, you missed it last week. He said in his 20s he had a 50% chance of making any of his flights.
That's true. That's a factual statement.
I'm confused. What does that mean?
He missed 50% of his flights in his 20s.
That's an accurate statement. Mikey's not even exaggerating.
Why?
I had about a 50%.
What were you doing?
We had this whole thing out last week, but yes, you're right.
Fair question. Keep in mind, I'm coming from. Usually, it's leaving. I'm just saying leaving Chicago, and there's always another flight in an hour or two. So I tended to not put that much emphasis on being on time, and it rarely got me in trouble. I did have to, buy an extra flight on Spirit one time when there wasn't another flight to Little Rock, Arkansas. That sucked. But other than that, Chicago is a great place if you're a habitual flight misser. Keep that in mind.
So you say that I missed my first flight in ever, just flat out ever, and I had to wait 3 hours at O'Hare for the next flight to Cincinnati. So you say an hour or two, but it was 3 hours. So
first flight ever. I mean, that's incredible.
I've never missed a flight ever. You know why? Because I'm a normal human being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I would say that 50% is definitely on the end of a certain spectrum. I think you're on the other end of a certain spectrum. Mitch, have you hit 99.9% of your flights?
Yeah, I don't miss flights. That seems like a really haphazard way to live life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey, what's your
very few?
Okay, but that's not Tyler or Mitch level.
No, I mean it's not. I
literally fly for a living. Like,
yeah,
it's different. But
I'm traveling all the time.
That's true. Okay, let's move on. As Adam
Idiot.
says, Chicago is a weird city full of weird people. He was just in Chicago for Halloween, I think for a rugby match, in fact. Chicago's not that weird, by the way. There's just there is some weird people in it, but it's a big city and there's weirdos everywhere. All right, Premier League time. Whew. Some interesting games. Some of the highlights / lowlights. Tottenham losing to Chelsea 1-0. Forest and United locking horns and dueling to a 2-2 draw. West Ham beating Newcastle 3-1. Some other ones, City beat Bournemouth 3-1. Arsenal beat Burnley 2-0. Some other ones, da-da-da-da-da. Mikey, why don't you go first? Which of the results this weekend stood out to you and why?
Oh, we're going to me first. This is nice. I like it. I was really, really, really shocked by the Spurs match, and I do want to start there.
Okay.
Why
are you so surprised?
Because when you looked at the table and when you listened to the interwebs, you would think that this Spurs team is good, and they're fucking not.
That was a tough watch. It was a really difficult watch.
It was awful, no doubt. I'll give you that. It's no more awful than every Arsenal game that you guys have played all season.
What are you talking about?
Just in terms of entertainment value, your games stink. You guys are unwatchable.
Tired rhetoric. No.
That's tough.
It's not tired. Yes, Tyler.
As the only unbiased person in this conversation, I will say that your performance, Sam, against Chelsea was definitely not nearly as entertaining as an Arsenal game, number one. And it wasn't nearly as effective. And number two, the rhetoric is not tired. You guys still play dog shit football comparatively. I don't blame Mikel Arteta from getting away from like the concept that he can win by playing beautiful football, because there's only two teams in the past 10 years that can do that in the Premier League, and that's Liverpool and Manchester City. But I do think that Spurs were very, very, very difficult to watch, and rightfully so, booed. So yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with you on anything related to this game. It was awful. It was a terrible watch. Not only were we just listless, lifeless, useless, but we also Chelsea just dominated us. They should have scored 3 or 4 goals. That should have been an ass whooping. The fact that it's going down in the books as a 1-0 loss, sort of makes us look a lot better than we should look.
The XG on that match is 3.68 to 0.1.
Yeah, not surprising. Vicario played well. I don't know exactly what to say about our home form versus our away form. We're the best away team in the league right now. I think 13 points from 15. We've got 4 points from 15 at home. Obviously, the dichotomy there is stark. Quickly, I got to give a shout out to Chelsea and Caicedo. That guy is a freaking demon. He is so good. So I'll give Chelsea that. Our midfield, on the other hand, was absolutely trash, garbage. We lost the naughty little Norwegian nymph early. That obviously changes things a little bit. But yeah, it was. There's no excuse. Like the Paulinho Betancourt double pivot. It's worked for us in certain situations, but it just seems like at home, where we expect to actually try to do something rather than maybe just try and hit somebody on the counter, which we couldn't even do this weekend. It's not tactically working, and it just doesn't really fit what we should want to do at home. It's just too boring. It's too conservative. I don't have sort of a fix for this. Like Thomas Frank, somebody asked in the chat that's going on right now, the live chat, how long does Frank have? So John asked that. A good question. I think that right now what we're watching is basically, microwave Jose Ball 2.0. Like we're seeing this really ugly defensive style that it just doesn't fit Tottenham. So if you're going to play that way, his leash is going to be shorter. It is like that. I think one reason Ange got so much leash that he ultimately hung himself with was that he at least entertained us. Tottenham fans, I've said this many times. Tyler, you always roll your eyes when I say it. We don't demand winning. We demand entertainment. And if you're not going to give us that, then listen, it's fact. It's just what we are. It's where we come from. And so his leash, I do think Thomas Frank has some flexibility here. He just got in the job. Obviously, we look terrible in that game, and we have looked bad numerous games. But at the same time, we're in what, 5th, 6th right now? Where are we on the table right now? 5th place or 6th place? Excuse me. So it's not like we're in 17th or 16th. The type of place where we were in last season. I think he gets a long time. I don't think Thomas Frank is on the hot seat even a little bit at this point. But we just got to play better and play different. I want to bring up one thing before we get off the game.
Play different.
Well, better. We just have to play better. We need
better.
Well, I meant different style. I meant less defensively, less conservative. Let's play some go attacking soccer, which we're not doing right now.
But go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I don't want to. If you got to follow up, I was going to take the conversation in a new direction. What do you got?
No, this concept that you don't think that Spurs fans want to win and they'd rather be entertained.
No,
where does that? Where does that come from?
It's not that we. Yeah, but no, it's. I took the temperature. I did a little survey and a field. What did I say? Field poll.
Yep.
It's always been my sense. It's my sense of myself and others. That it's not that we don't want to win. I don't want to frame it like that. But if you're not going to win and you're going to play diabolically unentertaining soccer, then you're going to be gone in a hurry. That's just not what we. That's not what we want. We want wins and entertainment. I don't know. Jose getting fired before a final is exactly
what every club wants. Yeah.
All right. Well, quickly before, I just wanted to point this out because it sounds good. It's going to sound like an excuse, but I actually just want to put it out there and see what you guys think. The new mega stadium, these brand shiny new stadiums. Is there something to this that you're basically losing some of the the home ambiance and a fortress, making your home field a fortress? We have this beautiful obviously I'm really clutching at straws to try and figure out what's going on with the home and away field productivity here, but we have this beautiful stadium. I hear a lot of people complaining, not enough singing, not enough chants, not enough this and that. I mean, we're not the only one that West Ham, I think, has the same issue. Like, we get these big, beautiful stadiums, maybe not beautiful for West Ham, big, spanking, shining new stadiums, and we're conceding some of the home ambiance. Is that an excuse, or is there something to that?
Well, it is an excuse.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think in a vacuum, if you build a new stadium, yes, you do lose the ambiance and the aura of having a home fixture, because that's not, you're moving into a new house and you don't have the memories that you've made there yet. But also, there's a lot more problems than just the fact that you guys have a new stadium.
I agree. I mean,
there's something there, though. You're
playing awful soccer.
Yeah.
Adam F points out, and he's an Everton fan, we start off pretty well at home. Agreed. I'm not necessarily. I mean, would you say that I don't know what the name of the Everton's new stadium is. I already forgot. But would you say that it's on the same level as Tottenham's new stadium with the 70,000 fans?
It's not.
And everything?
It's not.
Right.
But it's worth it because Daniel Levy gets X amount of money from the NFL to host some NFL games there. So.
True. No longer Danny Levy, by the way, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying there. By the way, we need Kulusevski back. We need Solanke back. So allegedly they're back in November, which it is November. So hopefully that. I'm like looking for ways that we're going to turn this thing around, because obviously what we're watching on the field is just awful there. But let's move on. So we stink. Spurs stink. Shout out to Chelsea, especially Caicedo. Great win. Tyler, what result from the weekend were you most interested in, and why?
I didn't see it, but I saw the scoreline come across my phone screen. I almost fell on my chair. West Ham beating Newcastle 3-1. That was certainly a little jarring to the system, as they say. But go Hammers, go Nuno.
I mean, that's a great shout, and it's even more surprising in how it went down, where West Ham, Jared Bowen hit the post, I think in like the 3rd minute, and then in the 4th minute, Newcastle went right down their throat. Jacob Murphy cut inside, hit it side netting, and you would think a team in West Ham's position, they would just fold. And they didn't. They played against a very good Newcastle team, and just, their goals were all fortunate. I think one of them was really lucky. Actually, one was a huge goalkeeping error. One was a own goal. And then the third one was essentially empty netter. But there's something to the fact that they seem to be behind Nuno, even with this kind of tough start. I think he's 5 games in. They drew their first game, and I think they lost the next 3, and then they won this one. So he had a tough start, but it just seems like, and I've watched West Ham the last couple games, they look like a team that's going to get out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
So I good shout on that result. Mitch, what result you going with?
That was also going to be mine, but I do want to note what you said. I don't think this is a very good Newcastle team. I think this is more telling of Newcastle and their struggles than it is West Ham. Newcastle had chances in that game too. It's not like West Ham turned the game around after the 4th minute and just kept dominating. Like, it was real end to end, and it looked like it was going to open up as soon as the manner in which that first goal was scored, where like Bowen rattled the post and then Murphy scored down the other end 20 seconds later. Newcastle just don't have a tall, lanky striker up top. And
yes, they do.
Not the good one anymore. I'm sorry, that was supposed to be an Isak reference. Voltemata did not do anything. I think he's a good finisher, but I don't think he's Isak. And
Vote for Messi.
I think Newcastle are feeling that now. They lack depth, and individually in this game, Jared Bowen is a fucking hooper. He's just so talented. He is West Ham going forward.
Okay. Fair shout. I'm not that down on Newcastle. I think that, maybe they don't have quite the depth of a sort of a top 4 real contender, but like I like them as a team. Okay. Any other? So quickly, Forest United. Interesting game. 2-2 draw. It was back and forth. I don't know. Any thoughts? Mikey, I think, were you the one that said Amorim has got this team turned around, or was that Tommy last week?
Was Tommy.
Okay. Well, then I won't put you on the spot with defending that thesis. But
To
any
answer
thoughts
for
on this
him?
game?
Forest is going to come right at some point. Yeah, I don't really know. The table's so tight everywhere from, I guess, 2 all the way down to, let's say, that 11 number. So these teams, take your pick. I think Forest is going to find themselves 12th, 13th in the table before long. I think they're too talented not to. Yeah, I didn't learn a lot from this, to be totally honest with you. I think United is going to be exciting, and there's going to be goals for and against them all season long. But no, both these teams are better talent-wise than they're performing, and I think United's having a pretty good start. There was a minute there on Saturday where they were second in the table, and everyone was having a great time, and now they're 8th. So it's funny how that works, right? So
I mean, it shows how
big for narrative, big for narrative guys, right? Like they're all of a sudden they could be second or third in the table. And we're talking about how great Amorim is, and now it's like 8th. They wouldn't be in Europe. Like maybe this is time to go. All because nothing happened. So yeah.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, I wouldn't say nothing happened because they did give up. Actually, they were the one that came back. So never mind that whole thought. Tyler, though, you weren't on last week. Did you, what would you say? Because you've been kind of outspoken about United being trash and Amorim probably needing to go. Tommy said last week that he thinks that they've turned a corner and they're heading in the right direction. What do you think?
It definitely looks a lot more cohesive and a lot more like predictable, I think, now than it has in the past. And I think that was sort of the biggest criticism of this group is like, what are they actually trying to do any given week? And I think that has become a little bit more clear. With that in mind, I still think that there is a stench and a rot within that club that is going to prevent them from like being very, very good. And I don't know exactly how that's going to change outside of like some ownership things and things that are like genuinely at the top. I also still think that Ruben Amorim is out of his mind and like he's not like a stable figurehead at a club to be able to like reel in trophies and like build something sustainable. I think that if there are going to be things that are going to prevent Manchester United from like being legitimately good and getting into Champions League, I think like unfortunately he's going to stand in the way of that potentially. But I think that like what they've built now is obviously a lot better than what they finished as last year in the beginning portion of this season. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it
does to me.
They have a lot of really talented footballers on their team. Like that's always been the case, right? Like this and that goes all the way back to like when McTominay leaves and Anthony leaves and but it's been the person who's in charge of trying to put it all together, and then obviously the buy-in to the quote unquote like club and the ethos of what they're trying to build, which nobody has known. So like, yeah, there shouldn't be a surprise. Like Manchester United should be 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th at any given time. Like nobody's expecting them to be in champ. They should always be right there. Always. Like regardless of how quote unquote bad it gets. But
I think mine was right in the chat. My biggest takeaway from the United game is that kid will have to wait for his haircut. And that's true. Very sad days for Mr. 5 wins in a row United fan.
I'm gonna start hating that kid soon. Just in my head. Just warning everybody.
Just in my head.
I think I'm already close. to hating this kid.
Why?
So,
What's making you turn that corner?
No idea.
It doesn't take much for Mikey to hate
tired
somebody.
of seeing him.
I'm already sick of him.
Only other game, City beating Everton 3-1. City beating Bournemouth 3-1. I think is notable. This was a kind of a proving sort of grounds game for Bournemouth. And, they played well. Tyler Adams scored to even it up in the first half. And, they played with them. But in the end, they just were not, City dominated. Erling Haaland is just incredible. It feels like he is the one and only thing that's going to hold Manchester City and the title race together and not let Arsenal run away with things. So I'm basically going to be Erling Haaland's biggest fanboy for the rest of the season. But yeah, it was a good game by Everton or by Bournemouth. I keep saying Everton because I'm going to turn to Everton. But it was a good game by Bournemouth. I think it does sort of suggest that they are just a little level below, which I don't think anybody is surprised by. Last game I'll shout out because the other ones pretty much went to scratch, was Sunderland at Everton. This game crystallized, so it just ended. This game kind of crystallized for me what Sunderland is, and that's a solidly middle class, mid-table team this year. And, I think that their ceiling is not, where they are right now, but I think their floor is about where Everton's is, which is, right there in sort of the 12 to 14 range. That's probably where they're going to end up. So that is not, by the way, at all a slight on Sunderland. They started the season, I think the odds were NBC showed it was like minus 380 to get relegated to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're up to plus 700 to get relegated after 10 games. So they have had a hell of a start to the season. It's a credit to their owner. I think his name is Kirill, Louise Dreyfus. Julia's cousin or something. It's a credit to him and the financial backing he's given them. It's a credit to their front office's smart recruitment. It's a credit to the coaching staff, credit to the players. I mean, I love the storyline of Sunderland this season, coming up before they were even ready and competing at the level they are right now. It's cool to see. Also, by the way, Shaka being a huge X factor for them. Got to give them a shout. All right. Quick question. Would you rather, Tyler, be a fan of 18th place West Ham or 19th place Nottingham Forest right now?
Woof. Pass.
I didn't mean long term. I meant just in terms of, this season, and they're both in relegation.
West Ham, I guess. I think that they kind of have a more talented roster, maybe. I don't know. They both have significant holes at different parts of their roster. Like, I think Lucas Paquetá is the best player along. I would probably say he's better than Morgan Gibbs-White. I would say he's the best player out of the two teams, but then between Anderson and Gibbs-White and that middle chunk, but then I think that the bottom third of West Ham's roster is better than four. I don't. It's a toss up. I don't know. West Ham.
Mitch?
I think I'd also say West Ham, but for different reasons. I think 2 years ago, or perhaps a year ago, if you were a Forest fan and you were flirting with Europe and you're at the top of the table, that's a really exciting time. And to now be at the bottom of the table feels a hell of a lot worse than West Ham, who in recent years have also kind of flirted with that middle to top 8th area. But I like Jared Bowen, so I'm going to go West Ham.
And mine in the chat made a good point. West Ham, because they don't have Evangelos Marinakis. Now, on the other hand, Marinakis would be willing to throw a bunch of money at them in January. So there's kind of the double-edged sword there. But just in terms of who I see finishing higher this season, that's tough. Forest does have to play midweek or in Europe. So that will probably hurt them a little bit. Yeah, that's a real toss-up for me. I'd probably go with Forest. I just think they have a little bit more talent overall. All right, let's move on. So quickly on the FPL front, let's give some shout-outs. Mikey in the Sam's Army Council of Elders is still up top by 20 points or so over McGunners. Isak at FPL just jumped me this week. Shout out, Mitch. Well done, sir. I'm 4th, and then Ghost of Darwin is in 5th. Now, in the Discord Sickos League, it's Vert So Good. Dalton Kemper still up top. Los Porros Hermanos Tim Marks is in 2nd. Kudus he thinks he is. Carter Brock in 3rd. And then, if we're going to the full Sam's Army Podcast League, Paul Brewer with 50 Shades of Eddie Gray is still up top. He's been up there for a little while, although Luke Hart with NicoBreen.org, that's actually his name, team name, is tied on 684 points. I don't even want to look back at what I have, but it's nowhere near 684. I'll tell you that. And Winery out the other. Brendan Price is in 3rd. Now, games coming up this weekend. We got some big ones. Tyler, you already said Liverpool and City cannot be matched in terms of the level of soccer and the level of play that they put out there over the course of the years. Not necessarily this year, but you do play on Sunday. Liverpool host City. Spurs host United on Saturday, West Ham and Burnley on Saturday, and then Aston Villa and Bournemouth also on Saturday are some of the ones I threw down. Mitch, why don't you go first? Which game are you watching and why?
On top of Arsenal Sunderland for obvious reasons, we just kind of glossed over Arsenal beating Burnley 2-0. We took care of business this weekend, but I do feel that we needed to shed it out for the Arsenal fans that listen.
It's too boring.
It's just too boring. Yeah, we just 2 goals, set pieces, blah blah. Spurs United's going to be fun. Spurs United is going to be a Jubilee hate watch. That's going to be really, really exciting.
Jubilee 8 watch. It's a great word. Great string of words. The unfortunate thing for United, or not for United, the good thing for United, the unfortunate thing for Spurs, we're missing a bunch of guys. I think Kudus might be out. Obviously, our Norwegic nymph might be out. We're not at last year's level of walking wounded, but we're missing a bunch of guys. So
new physio team.
What's that?
You guys need a new physio team.
At least these aren't muscle injuries as far as I know. It seems like there's a lot of knocks, at least lately. I do think that we've recently had United's number, so I'm more excited about this game than I was against Chelsea because we just always stink against Chelsea, and I don't really have an explanation for that. So I'm kind of excited for this, but I do think that there's going to be goals in this game, probably both ways. So I will second your call on that, Mitch. Mikey, what game you looking at here?
City Liverpool, right?
Mm-hmm. No further words needed.
I want to know what you guys are thinking of that.
Tyler?
I think we're coming off of playing Real Madrid in the Champions League. That's what I think.
That's not very fun, is it?
Couple of stretch for our boys here. It's a good thing we took it out on Aston Villa. I'm obviously a little nervous for this game. I think this could be a big turning point for either team, and particularly for City potentially. At the Etihad, after playing host to Trent and Real Madrid at Anfield, I think it's a tough week. Don't really know what to say other than the fact that I don't know what playing a team like City is going to yield from us. I still don't know exactly who we are. I don't know what we're about.
Well, do you think that you're going to learn a lot this week? Or no, because you're playing Manchester City and Real Madrid?
I think we will, just because Gravenberch is back. And you could obviously see the difference that he made. To be fair, and we didn't even talk about Liverpool's performance against Aston Villa. It looked like the most recognizable form of the club in this season so far, number one. Number two, could have been more, should have been more, probably deserved to give up a goal. But the defensive issues I still think are going to be there just because of the way that we play. So, but yeah, I think that we are going to learn something, and I don't think Isak's going to be available for Tuesday, let alone be available for Sunday. So we'll see. But I like Wirtz starting against Real Madrid. I like that better than him starting against City.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
I probably should have given you more. I think I skipped it in when I gave you the intro of the results. I should have given more of a shout out to that game, to the Liverpool win, because Aston Villa, by the way, was coming in hot, and you guys, it took them down. So I think that was a very good win. Mitch, go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on Wirtz a little more. I'm still confused about him as a total package. He has so much talent. He's clearly a talented player, but some of his decision making, and the execution on some things that feel easy for a player of his caliber, I don't get it sometimes. And he's not linking up play as well as I think he was at Leverkusen. And granted, the standard's probably a little lower in the Bundesliga than it is now here in the Prem. But I agree with you without much kind of thing to support it, that he would be better against Real Madrid than he will be against City. He loves open play, and there hasn't been much of that for Liverpool. He loves driving, riding forward and carrying the ball. But in situations where he's done that for Liverpool, I just feel like he hasn't looked like himself. or like his Leverkusen self. And I can imagine that's probably frustrating for Liverpool fans. But as a neutral, I watch him and I see a really talented player, and I like want some of these things and these passes to come off, but they just don't sometimes, and I'm puzzled by it. I don't have a point there.
I think it's a situation where I think it's a fair observation, and I think it's one of those things where we've become so accustomed to like needing everybody to hit the ground running day one that we demand it from everybody. And look at guys like Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo. They were huge money signings that initially I think people gave Chelsea a lot of shit for. If you look at both of them now, I mean, they're pretty damn good players. So yeah, I think you got to give them a little time to get used to everything. Quick shout out to the Aston Villa Bournemouth game, by the way. So that's the one I was going to shout out. Huge game for me in terms of, well, in my opinion, for the Cherries, to prove that they have kind of some staying power on this near the top of the table. Aston Villa, until that Liverpool game, were one of the hottest teams in the league. They lost that. They will be playing midweek. So Bournemouth has several things going for them. I think that this is a game that they need to get a result from if they kind of want to prove that they are they have that legitimate staying power this season. Did I not give somebody a chance, Tyler? Is there a game you want to shout out? Liverpool City. We'll go with that.
Obviously.
Okay. And by the way, same thing, proving game for West Ham and Burnley. If Burnley wanted, or if Bournemouth wanted to prove that they should be on the top of the table or near the top of the table, West Ham, this is a game they have to win if they want to prove that they don't belong where they are at the bottom of the table. Okay, halftime. Now, before we get to the weekly What If, a quick word from our good friends over at your one-stop shop for all your soccer tennis needs, Kick It. Tyler, we had quite a discombobulated promo last week between Mikey and Tommy. We'll just throw it to you this time. What do you got for us on the Kick It front?
Kickit.net, SAM25 is the code you want to use. You're going to get a discount on the basic soccer tennis set, of which I am going to be bringing to St. Lucia and hustling the local St. Lucians as well as the patrons at the hotel into games of soccer tennis. They won't know that, number one, I'm a baller, and number two, that I'm a spokesman for the product. And so it'll just be easy pickings, and I'm just going to be betting multiples of pina coladas and rum runners, and hopefully won't be paying for any drinks for the entirety of the trip. But yeah, Kickit.net, do it.
Well done. Now, I'm actually going to pull a fast one on everybody because Brian reminded me that we at least need to shout out Arsenal away to Sunderland, Sunderland being in the top 4 at the moment. We do have 2 Gooners, Tweedles here. Mitch, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, gooning right now. You heard from that Everton game that Stadium of Light is no joke. It's going to be tough to go there and play. Sunderland have been good at protecting points at home, so it'll be a tough one to go. We're the better team. I believe Gyökeres is out. He was not in training today and doesn't look like he will be. So I hope Havertz is going to be healthy, but if not, it's probably going to be Marino up top. And we've proven that we can perform with Marino as a number 9. Mikey is typing faster than anyone I've ever heard or met right now. There we go.
He was typing about something about Xhaka.
Oh, okay. All right. He's typing in the chat. He's forgiven. Fair
enough.
This is going to be Xhaka's first time back at Arsenal. Did we play him when he was at Leverkusen? I don't believe so. So this will be his first time back.
It's not at Arsenal. It's at the stadium.
All right. Playing Arsenal. That'll be a fun one though.
Mikey, quick thoughts?
I'm going to say it. I'm just not worried.
Yeah.
There we go. Leave it there. Mr. Reverse Jakes is not worried. Leave it there. All right. We did the promo Kick It. Shout out to Kick It. Weekly What If. Tyler, I think you're going to have to go last on this question. So, Mikey, you go first. If someone embarrasses the Sam's Army podcast at Tyler's wedding this weekend, who do the Vegas bookmakers list as the biggest potential liability?
Wow.
I'm going to give you a sneaky one. because I'm the obvious. I'm like minus 350. But there's a guy who hasn't been in the trenches drinking every weekend and who has a lot of, built up excitement in his social life to get out. And he's been repressed for so many months. And I have thrown a few back with him, and he can let it rip. I think Tommy McCabe is a great value bet low on the board.
Good shout. For a second there, I thought you might be heading towards me, but I was like, bro,
No, it's the idea of him. It's like, that first party after your season ends when you were an athlete and you like threw up in your bathroom at home or something like that. That's got potential here. So
okay, I think that's a fair shout. All right, Tyler, I think you're going to be the authority on this one because you're the one that gets to actually worry if somebody's going to embarrass us in your big day. So where are we going here?
I also was thinking Tommy's a great value bet, and especially losing in the playoffs in the first round after they had a good season. Like, I think that there's going to be a lot of things that he wants to get off of his mind in the form of, 17 Stephen Miller lights. But with that in mind, like when I'm thinking about people who could potentially embarrass somebody, it's like people who come into a wedding with like literally nothing to lose and like don't really like either know the couple all that well or just like are just like, yeah, like I'm just gonna let it rip and I don't really care about what anybody thinks. With that in mind, like I look at Nicole, Mikey's better half, and I'm just sort of like, what is that going to yield? Because Nicole's a great time. I spent the night with Mitch, Nicole, and Mikey, and like Nicole knows how to have a good time, and I'm just sort of like, she might be a good value bet. I don't know.
Is there Aperol? Will there be Aperol there?
Whatever her heart desires.
Well, then she just jumped up the board.
Mrs. Army might be there with her, right there with her if there's Aperol.
You're going to be so upset at the relationship Mrs. Army and Nicole form. Just warning you well in advance.
All right. Well, at least they gave me some advance warning. I appreciate that. I was about to throw it to Mitch, but I don't know if... Oh, yeah, your Wi-Fi's back. You look like it's back. So far we got Mikey saying Tommy. Mm-hmm. I co-signed that.
Okay.
I do think Tommy is a sneaky pick on this one. Tyler had a very good shout for Mikey's better half. Who you got with... Who do you have as the biggest potential liability?
I'm actually not going to go with the Vegas favorite for this one, which would be Mikey. I think the 700 weddings that he's attended, I don't think he has it left in the tank. Like, I don't think this is the end.
Don't do this.
This is the end of wedding season for him too. People are calling him a washed up wedding guest, and folks are saying that he's actually not fun to be around. So because of that, I'm going to fade Mikey and go with Tommy as the potential biggest liability for this event.
Throwing the reverse jinx at the reverse jinxer in this situation is diabolical, and I 100% support it, even though I co-signed the Tommy suggestion without the reverse jinxing. Mm-hmm. Great shouts, everybody. Well done. Round the world time. We have the MLS Minute Man to hit it and quit it for us. So we got a playoff version, a special playoff version coming at us from Seattle. Tyler, what do you got for us in the last MLS hit it, quit it minute of your single life?
And that holds a lot of different meanings in my heart and in other places in my body for reasons that were discussed before we hit the record button. All right, with that in mind, we're going to take a look at the game twos that have occurred in Major League Soccer in this round one best of three series format that Mikey just found out about 72 hours ago. All right, so let's start with the first game two that took place, and that is going to be between NYCFC and Charlotte. Christian Kalina and Charlotte getting the better of NYCFC in a 0-0 game. 7-6 is the final score in penalties, and what a penalty kick shootout it was. NYCFC had a chance to win it. They missed the frame completely, and then Charlotte ended up winning the game, and so we're headed back to Bank of America Stadium where Wilfred Zaha and company will try to score their first goal of this postseason, but you don't have to score a first goal in round one. You can advance. But speaking of goals, Philadelphia Union 3, Chicago 0. Chicago Fire put an end to their first ever playoff appearance since 2017. There you go. You can throw it in there all you want. But injuries, both to their best player, Philip Zinkernagel, in game one, and then Chris Brady, their goalkeeper, in game two, hindered this group significantly. Jeff Gall made two mistakes that led directly to goals at SeatGeek Stadium. Philadelphia come away with a 3-0 win and are going to await the winner of NYCFC and Charlotte. Meanwhile, Nashville SC in the 10th time of asking, finally get the better of Inter Miami since Lionel Messi joined Inter Miami, and they win it by a score of 2-1. Messi with a banger in stoppage time, but Nashville able to force a game 3, and so we're headed back to Chase Stadium for a do-or-die situation for Messi and friends, and possibly the last game in Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets' career. Can you believe that? Meanwhile, in the Pacific Northwest, just a little bit north of where I am in Washington, Portland 2, San Diego 2. It heads to penalties. San Diego were up 2-1 in penalties and then missed 3 straight penalty kicks in the shootout, and Portland win it by a score of 3-2. And now we're headed back to Snapdragon Stadium for a third game. Meanwhile, Vancouver making short order of FC Dallas. They win their second game. They do it in penalties, and Thomas Muller and company able to advance into the second round, where they will await the winner of Seattle and Minnesota. Or no, excuse me, they're not going to await the winner of Seattle and Minnesota. 2-7, that means that they would play the 3 seed, which means that they would play LAFC. It's going to be Vancouver and LAFC in the conference semifinal. And then the hell is real derby after Cincinnati looked like the much better team against Columbus. Columbus battered and bruised, but Lower.com Field was absolutely rocking. Max Arfston getting the goal to get things started. And then Columbus would cruise to a 4-0 win. Yu Yakubo sent off in the first half thanks to his second yellow card. So it's going to be game 3 at 2QL Stadium, 24 hours after your boy gets married in Cincinnati. Maybe we'll go to the game together all on Saturday night, but I imagine all of you guys are leaving on Saturday, so it'll just be me and the missus potentially. But anyway, I digress. Game 3, Hello's real. Columbus, Cincinnati, definitely going to be the game of next weekend. And then Seattle and Minnesota tonight, as we're recording this on a Monday morning. That game is kicking off at 7:45 Pacific time, 10:45 Eastern time. And that would do it for match day 2 in this best of 3 series in round 1 of the MLS Cup playoffs.
Good shout. Even though this is Monday afternoon and you're giving yourself less credit than you deserve because you're about to jump on the air in a couple hours, and he's still here with us cutting the pot. So shout out to Tyler there. All right. Rest of around the world is Champions League. So we're back. Match week 4. 4 of 8 in the group stage here. Up top in the table right now, we got some heavy hitters. We got PSG and Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan and Arsenal and Real Madrid, all on 9 points from 9. Not bad. Followed in the top 8 by Borussia Dortmund, Manchester City, and Newcastle. So, yeah, we don't have any upstarts in the top 8 at all. No surprise there, I suppose. But we do have some sexy matchups this week. I won't ruin them. I'll throw it to you first, Mikey.
Sorry, I'm going to leave Tyler to the Liverpool reunion. I'm really curious to see if Bayern Munich is the best team in the world or not, because I have a slight feeling they might be, and I'd like to see if they whoop on a marginally unhealthy and not in the best form PSG at the Parc des Princes. If they put a beat down on them, then that's concerning.
Okay, great shout. That's by far the sexiest. I'm sort of saying that as a joke, throwing it at Tyler. But PSG and Bayern, at least 1-2 in the table, are one of the highest profile games of the week. I will say the fact that they're 1-2 on 9 points from 9, in a way, kind of makes this game less important, in a sense, because they haven't locked up their spot in the next round. But 9 points, puts them well on the way towards that. But either way, PSG, Bayern Munich, that's going to be well worth watching. So, Tyler, what game are you going to shout
out? Carabag's playing this week, right? No. Real Madrid, Liverpool is going to be box office, especially with Real Madrid coming off of that El Clasico win last weekend. And I think that was probably the best performance that we've seen from them so far this season and the biggest game of the season for them. Potentially they might have found their groove. Obviously Trent's health and status and everything like that is somewhat up in the air, so we'll see if he's going to actually play. And then I just like, this is a huge test for both teams. I think more so for Liverpool than Real Madrid at this point in time, and especially being at Anfield against a club that has beaten you not once but twice in Champions League finals. You just got to find a way to get a result here. I think it's huge for the confidence of this group, and especially heading into the City game. You have a feeling that they're probably going to rotate, 1 to 3 pieces would be my guess from Madrid to City, Florian Wirtz being one of them. We'll see what Isak's status is as well, but I fear for the lives of our back four dealing with Kylian Mbappe, because we have trouble defending Morgan Rogers. So
Good shout. Should be a fun game regardless. Mitch, what game are you calling out?
We'll talk about City Dortmund. Dortmund City respectively 6 and 7 in the table. Both teams in pretty good form domestically right now. I think neither will win their domestic leagues, so Champions League is kind of where a lot of their focus is going to be. I am also scared that Bayern's the best team in the world. Like, it's result after result for them, and it's in dominating fashion that they dismantle teams. So I'm a little nervous for that. But this Dortmund City game is going to be fun. It's two teams with pretty dramatically different styles, and it's kind of the Haaland derby. A little far removed, but that'll be a fun one.
Okay, good shout. Just on the Bayern, we don't really talk about Bayern too often. We don't talk about Bundesliga that much, but Harry Kane is so good at soccer. I mean, he's just want to give him a quick little reach around there. All right, so my shout out. You guys picked the three probably the sexiest games on the slate. I'm going to call out Napoli hosting Eintracht Frankfurt, which is potentially the wildest storyline of all time here. So the first three games that Frankfurt has played in the Champions League so far have all ended 5-1. So they've lost to Liverpool and Atletico Madrid 5-1, and they've beaten Galatasaray 5-1. So now their fourth game is against Napoli. And so sadly, my book does not offer odds on Eintracht Frankfurt winning 5-1 at Napoli, but my book does offer odds on Napoli winning 5-1, and those are plus 2,800. And I guess I have to just touch it a little bit because that storyline is incredible. All right, stoppage time. Oh, it was a tough week.
Yeah, dude, you stink.
I was.
Sam went 0-5 in overs last week.
0-5, and shout out to our guy Eric, right? Eric in the Discord, who's been
he's a snitch.
He's snitching on me now, which I don't like. But shout out to him. He's the one that's been covering. He's basically been taking notes on our Sam's or our overtrain or my overtrain and everybody else's Ivan Toney's best bet and covering them and sort of calculating how we did on the weeks. Unfortunately, my only thing bad to say about Eric is his timing, because he started just in an awful little stretch for me, which obviously the last 5 straight losses this week was just, it's embarrassing.
You stink.
It's embarrassing. So Ivan Toney's best bet, overtrain. I made the change last week, which you might say might be the worst change in the history of the world, where I'm allowing myself to pick over 3.5 as long as I say it and let everybody know. I'm going to stick with it and assume that last week was an anomaly and we're about to bounce back. We're going to reversion to the means at a minimum. So these games are over 2.5 unless I say otherwise. Wednesday, we're starting with Benfica and Leverkusen in Champions League. That's 2.5. Thursday, we're going to Bolivia. Bolivia never lets me down. The Bolivian Premier League. Bolivar and Aurora are playing. That's going to be over 3.5. Friday, we're going to the Eerste Divisie, the second division in the Netherlands, where Vitesse is hosting Cambuur. That's over 3.5. Saturday, we're going to Liga MX. They never let me down. Well, not usually. Toluca is hosting America. That's 2.5. And then Sunday, over 3.5, City and Liverpool. There always have to be goals in that game. So there we go. Shout out, Eric. Hopefully you bring some wins this time. Because for some reason I'm blaming you for my picks, which that makes no sense. Never mind. All right, Mitch. Stoppage time. Ivan Toney's best bets. What do you got for us?
Yep. I got 3 all on Saturday. First is going to be Arsenal clean sheet win. Second is going to be Newcastle moneyline at Brentford. And the third is going to be Bayern Munich -1.5 against Union Berlin. That line is at -140 right now, and I feel like that's going to move because Bayern are just the best team in the world. Put those all together, you're at +780.
I like it.
And you're going the Tyler route. And by the way, ever since Eric started doing the math on our picks, Tyler's been killing it. So I'm sure he's not too unhappy about this. All right, Mikey. Ivan Toney's best bet.
Guys, we're going back to the well. I'm going for a 5-1 play. So I'm going to get my units right. It's the three big boys. It's Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane to score tomorrow and Haaland to score on Wednesday.
Mhm.
All three of those together are plus 500 on the dot. Put that together and let's just hit what we know. Anytime you can get Harry Kane for minus 105, you take it.
Fair enough. Am I the only one that when I put a bet in and it comes to like a perfect plus 500, plus 200, even plus 250, I'm like, boom, this has got to be a winner. I have good feelings about those bets.
You also have to, when you do that, it has to be a rounded, numbered wager as well. So it needs to end in a 0. It can't be, X cents in there as well.
For me, it has to end in 00. It has to end in 00.
Yeah, of course.
They're always winners when that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done, boys. Go is time. Who wants to go first? Mikey, why don't you lead us off here?
Well, I did bookmark something, as you know, when I get drunk and I bookmark stuff to bring up for GOAWs. So let's see what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Minor shout out to Oxford United and Millwall for wearing the exact same color kit. I loved that.
One of them had like a black sleeve. I think it was terrible.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I have. Go to Mitch quickly if he's got one ready, because I do have something I want to bring up, but I just got to find it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I do. I also bookmark stuff, inebriated or not. And this one is a really interesting one. So this is 50-year-old Jamie Cureton. I don't think I'm stealing anybody's with this. He became the first and only player to have scored in all 10 of England's top tiers. So he has scored in the Premier League all the way down to 10th tier of English football. He scored a goal for Kings Park Rangers, not to be confused with Queens Park Rangers, this weekend, which they play in the 6th tier of English football, and that completed, I guess, his perfect cycle of scoring in the first 10 tiers of football, which is just shocking too.
I want to know, like, in this summer, was he like, I've ticked off, the first and the 10th. I just have the 6th.
If he's played in the Prem and he's got 1 through 5 there, and also 7 through 10, you absolutely, I don't care what your level is, or if you're 50 years old. Apparently, it was a phenomenal finish too. I'll put it in the chat. But he absolutely was hunting a 6th tier team to sign him and say, play me up top for 1 game. I'll bag a goal and then I'll leave you alone.
Right. He probably paid them to let him do it too. Like that's an amazing stat and good find. Great find. That's what GOAWs is all about, right?
Right.
Mikey, you
Sammy the Saint.
Sammy the Saint?
From the 9th tier, right?
Sammy the Saint, mascot for 7th tier St. Albans City, was kicked off the field for clearly being fucking hammered.
Allegedly.
No, 100% confirmed hammered. Pulling off the double birds, the falling over the railing, the rejection of authority. He was on fire. Huge fan.
All the notes.
Sammy the Saint, you're my homie. We should find a way to get you to Cincinnati next week.
I was just gonna say, does Tommy still have a +1? He could.
I would let Sammy the Saint go as me with my girlfriend.
God. Oh, taking new meaning to Hall Pass. All right. Good shout. I saw that video. He definitely allegedly looked inebriated. I didn't know he was confirmed.
It was the security guard that I thought it was fake and staged, and then the security guards next to him wanted us to think like, we got to get this guy the fuck out of here. And I was like, this is real.
All right, Sammy the Saint, good shout. I'm actually shocked that you didn't include Fat Mob in your GOAWs.
No, I will never say those words again on air. No free promo.
Well, I'm going to give him an honorable mention because these soccer apps, the soccer score apps, are really they're chapping my ass lately. So we had SofaScore ruining my life by changing their goal alert, which was amazing, and now it stinks. And now we have FOTMob not allegedly, introducing a premium service of some sort. Shout out to Steve in the Discord chat who brought that up. My biggest takeaway from it is that they're charging $1.33 a month for whatever it is that they're offering in this premium
Don't do
service,
it.
which tells me that we are just giving away the Sam's Army Patreon for only 3 times more. We're charging $3.99, literally 3 exactly times more than $133 a month. Maybe we need to raise our prices a little bit. Maybe we need to stop being so goddamn cheap. But my actual go on this week is Laura Harvey, the manager of Seattle Reign, who admitted kind of offhand on a podcast that she set up a back 5 in a couple games this season at the suggestion of ChatGPT, which set off kind of a firestorm on soccer Twitter. There were some people sort of legitimately criticizing her. I think 90% of the people who were mad were mostly just people who hate women's soccer and love to just take shots at it. And there was a women's coach of a women's team, so we're just going to take shots. But I think it's an actual legitimate conversation. So, Mitch, what do you think about coaches using ChatGPT to, enhance their skills?
I am pretty anti-AI, and I'm outspoken in this stance. I don't think ChatGPT should be used for anything, let alone what you get paid to do as the head coach of a soccer team. I would also question that, like, if you as a coach, the authority in that locker room on the game, are outsourcing a tactical decision to a large language model, I don't think you have your head screwed on straight as the head coach of a football team. This has nothing to do with the gender of the sport. I think JJ Redick was a nerd for using it when he was coaching. I think any coach that uses ChatGPT and is honest and open about that use should not be trusted by their players, because that to me means you don't have a good grasp on the tactics or the game that you're coaching. I don't think it adds value at all. The nature of a large language model like that is it's a regurgitation of what it thinks information like that should look like. And there's going to be factual information in there, and you probably can find some insight from something like that. But to imagine that is going to give you more insight on how to play your team that you attend every training session for and every game and you watch every single day and you know the players, you're grasping at straws there. And if I were her, I don't think I would have admitted to using it. I think that was her first flaw. And then the second one is obviously using
it. Okay. Fair enough. You're consistent in your hatred of
yeah, sorry, that was way more
large language
nuanced
models
for
and
a
AI.
GOAWs take than you were asking for, but I just
No.
I don't think it's going to be a trend in coaching using ChatGPT to look at tactics or even scouting or any of that. Like, humans understand the game of football so much better than computers do. Computers provide numbers. Computers don't provide insight and actionable, insight onto how to use those numbers. So if you're a coach and you're leaning on AI to do that, questions need to be asked.
Mikey, are you co-signing that or anything else to add?
Yeah. It's a good research tool to some extent in some fields, but no, just don't talk about it. It's much more cool to not talk about how you do your job than it is to say you use AI.
That is true.
All right. Yeah, I mean, the fact she admitted it was, a little question. It was kind of an offhand comment. I think it wasn't like she was saying that she uses this like all the time or anything like that. And there's a lot more to coaching. There's, person management. I was going to say man management, but that doesn't really work with NWSL. But, there's a lot more to coaching than just tactics. But yeah, I agree that typically AI is just about regurgitating, collated facts from as many different outsourced people as possible. Not good in general. All right, Mitch, loved your take on AI in general. I co-sign that. Mikey, well done, sir. Can't wait to meet your +1 at the wedding. Tyler, thank you, sir, as you're preparing now for the MLS playoff game tonight. And Tommy, we'll be back next week after he perhaps embarrasses us. We'll see. Everybody in Discord chat, you guys are the best. We love you. If you're not in Discord chat, get in it now by getting the Sam's Army Patreon. Love you guys. See you next week. Bigger, better, maybe faster, stronger. See you.